Well, greetings all. It's great to be back together again. Has it already been a year since Scottsdale? Seems like that was just yesterday. I have just a few introductory thoughts before we begin. As Virgo's son made a couple of notes. First of all, deepest gratitude to Francis Donald for his beautiful illustration of the three planetary aspects that we just saw. The first time I shared Initiation Fire from Heaven Part 1 with the group, I began with this brief video. After it was over, Michael Robbins leaned over and said, "First Ray." And also, I want to say thank you to everyone who has contributed in any way to this amazing conference. The narration of this next video begins with what Michael would call my morning voice, but like a 76-year-old car, it eventually warms up. This video series on the seven rays has a different format from my more dynamic series on the four keynotes of the New World religion: death, rebirth, religion, and initiation, found in the Makara.us website, which I will discuss briefly tomorrow. The Seven Ray series was designed for individual viewing, so one could pause, rewind, and stop, and then return to the video when ready. However, in this group viewing, we will have to play it all the way through without stopping. My intention was to provide a general overview of each ray by revealing its various aspects that would hopefully help create a composite understanding of that ray. So don't worry about trying to read every word. Just notice the title, the highlighted text, and especially the illustrations to get a general sense of what is being conveyed. You can return to this video later if you want to study the longer passages more closely. The full titles of the abbreviated book citations will appear at the end. So I hope you enjoy the video. Many thanks to Mikael for handling the projection of them. So let us begin. This series on the seven rays is dedicated to my brother of old, Michael Robbins. The first ray, the destroyer aspect. The exoteric color of the first ray is orange, and the esoteric color is red. As part of the initial plan, the one life sought expansion, and the seven eons or emanations came forth from the central vortex. They came into manifestation, and in the work of expressing active life, qualified by love, and limited by an outward phenomenal appearance, they swept into a secondary activity and became the seven builders, the seven sources of life, and the seven rishis of all the ancient scriptures. We are told that seven great rays exist in the cosmos. In our solar system, only one of these seven great rays is in operation. Ray 2, Love Wisdom. The seven subdivisions constitute the seven rays, which, wielded by our solar logos, form the basis of endless variations in his system of worlds. These are the seven rays and some of their major qualities. The seven rays may be described as the seven channels through which all being in his solar system flows. The seven predominant characteristics or modifications of life. For it is not to humanity only that these seven rays apply, but to all seven kingdoms as well. Here we see the descent of the seven rays to earth. The seven rays are therefore embodiments of seven types of force, which demonstrate to us the seven qualities of deity. These seven qualities have consequently a sevenfold effect upon the matter and forms to be found in all parts of the universe, and have also a sevenfold interrelation between themselves. Here we see the seven rays, their planetary rulers, the seven planes, and the constitution of man. This is a diagram of the seven ray masters. Ray 7, Master R, who was also the Count of Saint Germain, has now moved on to become the Maha Chohan, one of the three hierarchical department heads. His replacement as the seventh ray Chohan has not yet been revealed. These are some synonyms of the first ray that Master DK revealed to us. Here we see some qualities of the first ray. These are some other qualities of Ray 1. Master Dwal has provided us with these names of the first ray Lord. The Lord of Death. The opener of the door. The liberator from form. The great abstractor. The fiery element producing shattering. The crystallizer of the form. The power that touches and withdraws. The Lord of the burning ground. The will that breaks into the garden. The ravisher of souls. the finger of God, the breath that blasts, the lightning which annihilates, the Most High, again, we see the names of the first-ray Lord. This is the astrology of the first ray. The first and seventh rays control the solar kingdom. The first and seventh rays also control the mineral kingdom. The logoic or divine plane is controlled by the first ray. The first ray of will or power is the first aspect of the all-self, and in the third outpouring came down to the fifth plane along with the other monads. A subtle correspondence exists between the monads of will on the fifth plane, the fifth law, and the fifth ray. Here we see the effect of the first ray on the mental body of the unevolved and advanced individual. These are some first ray locations. Here are some correlations between the first ray and the 7 root races. This reveals the relationship between the first ray and the initiatory process. Here are some correlations between the first ray and cycles. The first ray is not currently in incarnation. These are some famous entities with first ray. This reveals the correlation between the first ray and the crown chakra. Now we see the relationship between the first ray and yoga. Here we see some of the virtues of the first ray. These are some of the vices of the first ray. Here we see some of the glamours of the first ray. The first ray expresses through the activity of death. The first ray Lord absorbs and destroys all form. The first ray produces the death of all forms. The first ray is the ray of the destroyer. The first ray is the destroyer ray. Ray 1 takes the kingdom of heaven by force. We will now examine the Hindu Trimurti with an emphasis on Shiva, the destroyer aspect. The Trimurti represents the three aspects of Brahman, the Supreme Spirit or universal truth. Here we see some of the correspondences to the Trimurti. The Trimurti represents the three forces of manifestation. These are some of the qualities of the Trimurti. The Trimurti corresponds to the first three planes of our solar system. Each individual expresses the three aspects of the Trimurti. The human kingdom was produced by the Christian Trinity or the Hindu Trimurti, sounding the triple Aum. The sacred Aum and the Trimurti. The three fires correspond to the Trimurti. These are some of the qualities of Shiva, the first logoic aspect. The sixth formula corresponds to Shiva. Shiva destroys the universe in order to recreate it. Eventually, Shiva destroys the entire universe with a gigantic black hole. Shiva uses his destructive powers to ensure the order of the universe. Shiva destroys the hindrances to our spiritual progress. Eventually, he destroys death itself. So this concludes our examination of the destroyer aspect as it relates to both Ray 1 and to Shiva, the destroyer aspect of the Hindu Trimurti. I hope you have enjoyed it. This is a diagram of the rays and their corresponding constellations and planets. These are the full titles of the books and the abbreviated citations. Here we see the 24 books written by the Tibetan master Djwhal Khul and Alice Bailey. The paperback titles are easier to read. The first ray, the destroyer aspect.